for any extreme metal band whose career started in 1988 and to still be turning out albums of quality in 2020 is quite a feat. And for a band with the name of Rotting Christ, it's even more impressive. And being from a country like Greece and still achieving such a worldwide acknowledgement and fan base is a testament to the band's hard work and songwriting capabilities and attention to detail and fire for longevity. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have been a Rotting Christ fan since the very beginning, because I have not. I'm actually a late convert to this band. The first Rotting Christ album I ever heard was Triarchy of the Lost Lovers, which was sent to me as a promo back in the day by Century Media. Initially, I was a little slow to warm up to that record. It seemed super melodic and a style that it seemed very foreign to what was going on in the rest of Europe or Scandinavia. But once the hook of the melody kicked in, that album to this day stands as one of my favorites. Obviously, further back you go, they are a lot more aggressive, and they were one of the forefathers for establishing the Hellenic style, them along with Verathron and Necromantia and other bands like that. But that's the past, and what we have today is the Heretics, the 13th full-length album from Rotting Christ. And honestly, this band is, and to me anyway, has kind of been in a creative slump since what I consider to be their last truly great album, which was Theogonia. That album to me was fierce, well written, and scathing from beginning to end. Such a powerful album. After that, it seems like the wheels kind of fell off. Whether they wanted to try something new or were succumbing to the complications that come along with age. I'm not going to sit here and say old guys can't rock, because that's not true, but maybe I'm off base here, but it seems to me like Sakis, his vocals have lost the depth and it's not as nasty and grovelly in his vocal performance as it obviously was when he was younger, which is to be completely, it's understandable. I mean, doing this since 1988, big world tours, a lot of gigs, the shit's gonna catch up with you. But they have endured and maintained their overall style while shifting maybe focus off of Sakis's vocals. Which brings me to the Heretics. This, like I was saying, I think is probably one of the better albums they've done in the last few releases. It's got that Rotting Christ aesthetic that is pleasing. It's unique. It is their own. It is a very well-produced album. It is, the melody is there. Those interesting, really melodic, hooky earworm riffs. It's all on this album. For me, the one thing that kind of is the hitch is the vocals. Yes, Sakis is still doing what he's always done. That deep growl to a mid-range black metal styled attempt at a snarl. But one thing this album is riddled with is church choirs. Layered background vocals. This whole album is the feeling of being in a church. The church choirs become a focal point, and which highlights the very religious aspect of this album. I'll get to that in a second. The church choirs. There are songs where, I think Diarrhea is one of them, that is pretty much the church choirs in Greek or Latin, I don't know for sure, the language, is pretty much for the whole song. And the religious aspect, the dark narration and commentary, and this whole aspect of this album, I understand it's a band called Rotting Christ, and I understand the whole satanic dogma, wanting to get a point across, and you know, being the adversary, this and that. But the older I get, the less I care about such commentary. It all just seems so overblown and so I don't want to say pretentious. I just want to, it's just, they're trying to get a point across that has been beaten to death on both sides of the coin, and it's very much a focal point of this record. Like I said, a lot of eye-rolling moments for me when that whole point comes across. But you get into, if you can get past that and enjoy the atmosphere of the album, it's somewhat unique. It's got a rich sound field. Another thing that I feel is lacking in this album is the lack of dynamics. A good share of the album is slow to mid-paced, and which is fine. When the speed kicks in on Diary, and I believe it's a faster drum beat with this, like a jing, 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 like a crunch over the beat. Not overly imaginative. It's like they're trying to get mileage out of not a whole lot. And the harmonies, when they do come in, they're welcomed, but they're not substantial enough. They're almost like they're in the background. They've taken a back seat to the religious snake oil they're trying to sell you. You know, having said all this, at its core, this is a good album. And like I said, I've listened to it probably a good 6 or 7 times, which it's because I like the sound of Rotting Christ. And if you're a longtime fan of the band, this will sit on your shelf and you will find yourself reaching for it on occasion. Yes, I've got a few problems with it. I shouldn't really maybe call them out on having such a theatrical scope, which in metal is quite important. But I think overall it hurts the songwriting. I would have liked more riffs, more depth, and Sakis is making do with his vocals. They sound good on this album, but you can tell he may have lost a step over the years, which again is fine. I'm not going to sit here and call a guy out for that, and I could be wrong, but that's just what my ear hears, and I'm just making assumptions. But Heretics, it's a decent album, definitely worth checking out. I would recommend Theogonia for some true Hellenic fire. Triarchy of the Lost Lovers is a melodic Black Death masterpiece. The Mighty Contract, Non Serviam, all that stuff, classic Rotting Christ. And definitely check this band out. And if you're feeling adventurous, check out Heretics. It is certainly good and worth your time if you can see past some of the few points that may have bothered me a little bit about it. But thanks a lot for watching, and if you like these reviews, give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, and see you in the next video. See ya.